I'm not joking.
So, you should come here. If they don't like it, you should come here and say it to our face.
Okay, we're holding Daf Tzadik. Are we live?
We are live.
All right.
All those complainers out there, we don't care.
Daf
what you
Tzadik
think.
Vav. Nachman. Ooh. Oh, the real. I have to get this out of here.
You could edit the video before you upload it.
All the 20,000 out there.
Making like saunas. Mineo Bay.
20,000.
Alex, we really got to start. Aaron felt here. People here on time. Wow, it's crazy days. I think people.
Zok the Mishnah. Tzadik Vav Amud Aleph. Rolling by the Mishnah. So yesterday we discussed the Shtei Alechem and the Lechem Aponim, a three-way machloikus. Where do you do all the avodas of the Lechem Aponim and the Shtei Alechem? Now the Mishnah is going to discuss other menachos. Chavitei Kohen Gadol. The Chavitei Kohen Gadol, 6 in the morning, 6. The Chavitei Kohen Gadol, 6 in the morning, 6 in the afternoon. Lishason v'arichason v'afiyason b'fnim. So over here there's no machloikus. Everybody says that kneading it and creating the bread, making a tzur of the bread and baking it is all inside. Why? Because now we're dealing with a different measuring device. Yesterday we were talking about the isaron, and there's machlokes whether the isaron is mekadesh, not mekadesh, which kli is mekadesh, the oven is mekadesh, not mekadesh. The chatzi isaron, there is no machlokes. Chatzi isaron is mekadesh l'chayra. And therefore, since it's mekadesh, and for the Chavitei Kohen Gadol, you use the chatzi isaron to divide the isaron in half. So Meila gives a kedusha, and everything has to be done inside. Otherwise, you're over on yotzei. It becomes possible. V'doichos is a Shabbos. And if you're making chavitim, you have to make Chavitei Kohen Gadol every single day. So if you're dealing with the chavitim of Shabbos, it has to be done on Shabbos. Because if you do it the day before, it's pasul belina, and therefore it pushes off Shabbos. However, tchinason, barkadason, grinding it and sifting it, einon doichas Shabbos. These are things that you can do erev Shabbos, so there's no point in doing it Shabbos. Now going back for a second, there's a Rashi here that says, and we had this Rashi before, the reason why Chatzi Sarah and Rashi says is kadosh is because the Saroin, where Yisraelim use it for their Menachos, so we're worried they might bring it outside. But a Chatzi Saroin, it's only for the Kohen Gadol, he's going to be careful, the Kohanim are going to be careful, it's not a problem. Taisus has a problem with that because the Chayra, it's a Mefursha Pasuk, it's not a Svara. But Taisus says that the Pshat is, because there's oil inside the Chavitim of the Kohen Gadol, the oil has to be measured with a measuring cup of lach. Lach, we said, the Kuli Alma is Mekadesh. And therefore, once you have oil introduced there, you cannot remove it from the Beis HaMikdash.
Sorry again.
Omar, I'm going to have them directed to you directly. Says the Mishnah.
Cloud.
I'll show you the numbers. 40 for the boats.
Cloud.
Klal Omer Kiva Kol Melacha Shev Shalas Hoysem Erev Shabbos Ein Doichas Shabbos. We had this by Mila. That anything that you can do before Shabbos, let's say by Mila, bringing the knife to the shul. If you can do it before Shabbos, you have no right to do it on Shabbos. And if you didn't bring the knife before Shabbos, it's too bad. You can't do the Mila. V'Shev Shalas Hoysem Erev Shabbos Doichas Shabbos. So therefore, Tchinar Kada you can do before Shabbos. It's not Doichas Shabbos. But obviously the afiyah, the lisha, that you have to do on Shabbos, is doichas Shabbos. Says the Mishnah, Kol ha-menachos yesh be'em ma'aseh kli b'fnim, ve'em be'em ma'aseh kli b'chutz. All the menachos, says Rashi, it's talking about the kneading and making the shave of the challah. So you have to do that inside. You cannot do it outside with a kli. Ve'em be'em ma'aseh kli b'chutz. Shtei alechem, says the Mishnah, I brought this. Shtei alechem, Arka Shiva Tfachim, V'rachba Arba Tfachim. So Shiva Tfachim is this much, right over here, 67 centimeters. By 38 centimeters. So this is the size, whoever wanted to know. 38 by 67. No, this is how long it is.
How do you get to 38?
No? Because tefach is 9.6 according to Chazon Ish, or 8. So,
That's the width.
4 times 9.6, 38.
This is you have the width now.
Width?
That's the width. Yeah.
By the land.
Okay. Right. That's each bread.
Each bread.
Pretty big bread.
Chazan bread. Says the Mishnah, V'karno yiseo arbed's boys. So you have, this is about arbed's boys, this amount. It had a little horn on top. I'm going to show and tell the horn in a second when we come to lechem aponim. I'm going to reuse Lazi's lechem. Lechem aponim, orkoi asora tvachim. So it's 9.6. You have 96 centimeters. Look at this. This is a serious bread. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is geschmack.
For that, each one of those on the lechem aponim is that big.
12 breads this long.
Unbelievable.
Now,
That's major.
by, you use 10 pounds of flour.
Yeah.
2 estroinim. Ve'rochboi chamisha tvachim. So this is how wide it is. This is the width. Just the width is this much. Ve'karnoisav shevetz bois. So I should have done this before. What? Let's get this bread out of here. What about one day? What did you say?
When they took off lechem upon him, they had to finish it that day? But they had a whole week to use.
No, that day I think.
Okay.
Yeah, once you took it off.
That's a lot of bread to use for one day.
We're gonna have nicer and better things. But here, hold on. Here's a Karen. Here's a Karen, right? So you have a little bit of a horn that goes, let's say, right over here. Boom. So now this is your bread. It has a horn.
Okay.
That's one thing. And we're gonna see later that the horn is really inside. Right now, we're going to say the horn is like that. Rabbi Yehuda, now, how much is Shevet's boys?
The shtel lechem are the same shape as the lechem upon him?
We didn't have, I don't know.
The shape was the lechem upon him shape.
Right, this is the lechem
Are you
upon.
doing the lechem aponim now?
We're going to explain. This shape is because of the size of the shulchan. The shtei lechem doesn't have a shulchan, so there's no.
So
This didn't fit, so we had to fold it upwards. We're in lechem upon him. How much is Shevet's boys? The art scroll seems to say that Shevet's boys, when it says etzba, he says it means a thumb, a gudel. So therefore, Shevet's boys, according to the art scroll, is 1 3/4 tfachim, which is a major problem according to the art scroll, and that's why he makes funny pictures of the karnos.
Interesting, it says here in the art scroll that the size of the Aponim was before
You had it right. You had to fold it as
the size that you just had.
when you
There was the flat.
when it's dough.
Before they folded it up, this is folded up.
Oh. Meaning that
Right?
was the 10 fucking include this.
Right.
Yeah.
That was flat down.
We're gonna see in a second. We're gonna get there. We already saw it. We'll see in a second. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shloi Tita. By the way, this is the same Rabbi Yehuda that we say on Pesach. Rabbi Yehuda Oinoisim Bem Simonim Detzach Hadash Ba'chav. So he says over here, Shloi Tita. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shloi Tita. So you shouldn't forget Zedad Yahaz. Zedad is 7 by 4 fingers tall. And Yahaz is 10 tfachim by 5 tfachim by 7 fingers for the Tiferes Yisrael has a whole siman that Zedad is Meloshin Dad that we nurse from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, from the breads. Other people say it's not true. That there's no deep intent in his words. It's just a siman and finished.
Yeah.
What did you say? Yeah, of course. Yeah. If you're what do you call it? Shtika Chassidus, you have Varma blood, then Avadis.
Any other place of you that does this in Shas, where he gives Simon, that's it.
You can't search it because over there it's Rabbi Yehuda Noisim Ben Simonim. Over here it says Shloi Tita. How are you going to search it exactly? If you kept on saying the same lashon, then you can search. You search by his name, Rabbi Yehuda. That's for you to do. Ben Zoyma Omer v'nusata la'shulchan lechem ponim lefonai tomid. Lechem ponim shiuloi ponim. That the bread should have face. So according to one Pshat and Rashi, this is the face. Right over here, it has a face. According to other Pshat and Rashi, pinim means this, that it has a little bit of a horn on it. Hashulchan orkoi asara v'rochvei chamisha. So that's the exact measurements that I showed you before. It's 10 tfachim long by 5 tfachim wide. Now, lechem aponim or gasar v'roch b'chamisha. The lechem aponim is the exact same measurement. The problem is that you have to put the lechem aponim to the width of the shulchan, right? Let's say this is the shulchan, so it doesn't lay like this. You have to have 2 stacks of them, so it has to go sideways. If it's sideways, you have to put in the 5 tfachim, 10 tfachim. It doesn't fit. So what do? That's why you fold this upwards. Now, Shaila, how much do you fold it upwards? Depends how wide the shulchan is according to. Noisein orkoi keneged rochboi. So you put the length of the bread on the width of the table, which is 10 tefachim, on a 5 tefach surface. So v'koifel tefachim umechzo mikan utefachim umechzo mikan. So since the bread is 10 tefachim and the shulchan is only 5, so you're left over with 5 tefachim extra. So you divide it on the 2 sides of the bread. You fold the bread up 2.5 tefachim on one side and 2.5 tefachim on the other side. Nimtza orkoi memala rochboi shel shulchan. So then it comes out that the 5 tefachim, the bread that's 10 tefachim, actually fills up 1 slot on the width of the table, and now you're left with this slot for the next row of bread.
When do you fold it?
You fold it before you bake it. As it's dough, you put it into a form as is. Nimtza, Divi Rebbe Yehuda. Because Rebbe Yehuda holds that a amma, we know that the shulchan is 1 amma by 2 ammas. The question is, how much is a amma? Rebbe Yehuda holds that a amma is 5 tefachim, so therefore the width of the shulchan is 5 tefachim. Rebbe Meir oimer that the amma is 6 tefachim, so therefore a shulchan orko shnei masar. You have 2 ammas, which is 2 times 6 is shnei masar. V'roch by shisha, and it's only 6 tefachim wide. It's more than Rebbe Yehuda. Lechem aponim, he says, is the same length as Rebbe Yehuda. So what do? Now, according to Rebbe Meir, you only have 4 tefachim extra. So you have to only divide the 2 sides by 4, and therefore he's left with noisen orke keneged rochim shulchan koifel tefachim mikan v'tefachim mikan. You only have 2 tefachim on each side of the bread. With tefachim revach beemtza kadei shiteh ruach min hasheves behem. Now, since the bread is only 5 tefachim wide, and you put 1 bread next to each other, that gives you only 10 tefachim. But the shulchan is 12 tefachim, so now you have 2 tefachim extra. So he says that instead of putting them next to each other, you put them like this. You have space 2 tefachim, so everything can breathe. As we're going to see, there's kanim between each bread, so there's air flowing throughout the whole thing, and it's all good. Why do I need 2 tefachim between the breads? Those are the 2 spoonfuls of frankincense where you put between the breads. It seems from the pasuk that you put the levaina on top of the top bread. There's 6 breads in a row, and you put it on the top one. Omer lehem Menachos. On top of Ephraim, you should put the whole shevet Menachos. That's really funny, right? You can't put one shevet on top of their heads. It's impossible. So what does it mean, al? Al means you put Ephraim next to Menachos. And we're talking about in the midbar. Where do you put them? You can't put them on top of each other. So you put them next to each other. So the word al means next to. So Mela over here also, the word al means you put the bread, you put the levaina next to the bread, not on top of the bread. Says the Mishnah, V'arba snifim shazav oyusham. So that we already described that on the side of the shulchan there was. Here, you show the picture. Get you to the spot. Right, maybe I could do it.
Copyright, you can't show it.
I could show it. That's why I already printed it in the other shear, but somehow you guys are gonna have to see now the smaller picture. You see these little poles. According to him, they're small poles. It seems like from Rashi they were much thicker and wider, almost the size of the whole bread. But anyways, these are what are they called? Snifim. Mifutzalim mirosheim. So basically, if you look at the way he describes it, they're wavy. Why are they wavy? Because in those waves you put these kanim into them. There's kanim that go this way. So in the indent, right over here and right over here, you see the indentations? The other day I had a giant picture, blew it up, but we're not so sure that you're allowed to do it. I actually emailed him this morning, see if he gives rishos.
But on a screen it would be okay.
On a screen, you're allowed to show it on a screen, I guess. It says no, you can't do digital.
I'm not printing on the screen. I'm showing the camera like it's on the YouTube.
It says even digital, you're not allowed
So
to.
now YouTube, they have a problem now.
They can't turn on video.
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? By the way, I'm already open to this picture. So you see how the bread is curved? This is the carrot on top.
Oh, the camera this way.
That's what we're going to see in a second. The carrot goes this way because it's going to be too high.
It's gonna hit the other bread.
Yeah. Oh, I have a whole bench for myself. Great.
What?
What?
Chuk that goes up if we folded it over.
Yeah, I'm gonna show you. It's not up. That we're gonna get to soon. So, Shnayim mifutzalim erosheim, which means that they had like holes in them, indentations that you could put. Yeah, that you guys. Yeah, I have no problem. You build it, I'll bring it here. Says the Gemara. Shnayim, let's say we could do a little trip if you want. We could do a group trip to the Mechon HaMikdash next to the Kotel, and we could all enjoy on the way to the bread thing that we're going to do.
Breads from there, and you'll bring it.
Oh, we'll bring the breads on the way back. Very good. We'll see if it fits. Show you something. Shnayim, let's say the zip. Shnayim, let's say this. So there's two rows of 6 breads. Ve'esrim u'shmoina konim. Now there's 28 of these. Again, I told you back then, whoever wasn't there, this is like a half a square. Those were half circles. And the reason is because the guy tried to do it for me. He took out his saw and he started cutting down. You can imagine the 16-year-old trying to cut a pipe in half this way without any, he was holding it with his hand. And I said, you know what, let's take this. I think that this does the job. This is it. So we had 28 of these, meaning 14 for each side. If you do a quick cheshbon, the Gemara is going to talk about it. If each bread had 3 konim, right? These are the konim. So this is the bread. If you put the konim like this, 3 of them, there's 3 konim. Each bread had 3 konim, and there was 6 breads. But the bottom bread laid flat. The bottom bread laid flat on the shulchan. So there was no konim underneath the bottom bread. So basically we had 5 rows of 3, which is, no, it doesn't work. 4 rows. Sorry. 4 times 3, which is 12. And on the top bread, there was only 2. The top bread was held by 2. So it's 12 plus 2 equals 14. That's how we got 14 per row. Times 2 is 28.
The breads had indentations at the bottom also.
No.
This, if you put another bread on top of that, that means the bread on top of that was going to have an indentation on the bottom.
No. I made this indentation to be explained in a minute. This indentation is on purpose. It's designed like that. They created the bread with the indentation for the kana to go into it. We're going to see in a second. But the top one was already baked. There's no reason I should have any indentation. It's sitting on top of this kana. It's a half, each one is a half a pipe, hollow, like this. Arba asur l'sei the ziv, arba asur l'sei the ziv. Lo yisidur konim v'lo netilos m'doiches haShabbos. Now, says Rashi, the Machlokes Rashi, and Tosfos here, what removing these guys on Shabbos, says Rashi, it looks like boina and soiser. Don't do it on Shabbos. Elo nichnas merev Shabbos v'shoimtoi v'noisnoi la'orkoi shel shulchan. For whatever reason, maybe they were worried that as you're removing the bread on Shabbos, these would fall and it would look like soiser. So they came in a couple of hours earlier, Erev Shabbos, removed all of these guys, put them in a nice pile to the length of the table. So if this is the table, they didn't put it like this. They put them on the floor, not like this, but like this, to the length of the table. The table goes from Mizrach to Ma'ariv in the Heichal. They put it like that.
What supported the breads there?
For that day, there's no support. It was the last day. We weren't worried that the breads would crumble and crush everything down for whatever reason. It was not a lot of time, so we weren't so worried.
They all sat on each other?
And they all sat on each other from Erev Shabbos until they ate them on Shabbos.
At that point, it was already hard.
But we're going to see in a second, it wasn't so hard because there was a nace that was soft and steamy, still some
How'd you
moist.
put in the new ones without the konim? On that Shabbos, when you took them off, you had to put a new one.
You had to put new konim in. Very good, Shai. Very good. That's how you have to say.
Same miracle that kept that okay, kept that okay.
We're not worried. We're worried for a very long period. For a few hours, we were not worried. Kol hakelim shahoyu b'mikdash arkon la'arkon. How come I always miss that one Rashi you guys talk about?
It's a hefty Rashi, a quarter.
That's what it is. I didn't do the whole. Yeah, he says Motzi Shabbos. Very good. So, this is the Heichal, this is Mizrach, this is Ma'ariv. It went this way. So all the Kalim, meaning the Shulchan, is going from Mizrach to Ma'ariv, not this way, but this way, and therefore when you put these Konim, you're putting it this way and not this way. La'arkoi, v'lo l'rachboi.
Yeah, but the Konim are not.
No. When you shoymit the Konim, you put them in a nice pile.
Oh, when you put them in the Konim.
When you take them off the table and you're storing them by the feet of the table, you should store them in a very particular way, only from Mizrach to Ma'ariv. Because everything goes in that direction.
Except once they're on the table,
Once they're on the table, there's other things on the table that are going to be in the wrong way. But Kol HaKeim Shoy B'Mikdash Arkon La'arko Shabayis. Says the Gemara, Kol HaMenachos Yesh Ma'aseh Kli Mevifnim Shalos Rebbe Zuminayin. How do we know that we used Kalim for the Menachos? Amar Lem Areyu Oimer. It says, Vayomer Eli Zeh HaMokem Asher Yivashtu Shom HaKohanim Es HaChatos V'Sa Asham. It says in the same pasuk that the chatas and the asham have to be cooked in the Beis Hamikdash. There's a particular place where they cook things, and then it says asher yoifu es hamincha, and there's the oven for the mincha. So in the same pasuk it says chatas asham and mincha. Levilti hoitzi elachatz achitzoyna. Therefore, do not take it out. So says the Gemara, mincha dumi the asham. There's a hekesh. The asham echadas. Ma asham echadas turim kli. Just like the pasuk says mefurish that there's a bishul, they cooked the chatas. Af mincha nami tuna kli, and therefore the mincha also requires a vessel. Ashulchan argo yasar. Omer Rabbi Yochanan l'divri omer tzvachayim v'mechza koifel. Now, according to Rabbi Yehuda, that we said they have to fold the bread upwards 2.5 tefachim on each side. Nimsa shulchan mekadesh chamisha tefachim l'mala. Remember, we had this Gemara. So it comes out that if you have 6 breads on top of each other, and each one has 2.5 tefachim to the top, so 2.5 tefachim times 6 equals 15. So therefore I know that the shulchan has power to be mekadesh, whatever you put up to 15 tefachim. So if I take the levina, let's say, and I put it up there, it becomes kadesh, by just the mere fact being 15 tefachim above the actual table. I know at least, according to Rameir, that it's Mekadesh 12 Tfachim Lamala. Ask the Gemara, V'ike Konim. Oh, so now we're going to get to this. Ask the Gemara, on top, let's say from here, from this point to here is 2.5 Tfachim. What about this guy? Now this guy sits like this, right, with the point downward, and then you put a bread on top of that. So now you have 15 tefachim worth of bread, plus whatever this takes up. So why are you telling me 15 tefachim? Say 17 tefachim, whatever these konim are taking. Says the Gemara, konim shakui mishakalahu. These konim are actually inside the bread, like this. They're in the bread that they made indentations before they were even baked. That was part of the form. They had indentations where the konim would sit inside. What's the obvious question? If they're sitting inside, then what purpose do they serve? They don't help me. They don't lift the weight.
A little bit out.
A little bit. So then you have to say that's more than 15 tefachim. A little bit, 15 tefachim plus a little bit of all these konim, a little bit. So that's the Gemara discussion.
why does the 15 tefachim is in ma'akev here?
It's not ma'akev, but it's telling me. Let's say I put bezichim.
The table itself.
Question: if I
put
put
the first bread. The table itself had
but the tabletop gives off a kedusha. We know, me and you know, that if I put bezichin 100 amma above the table, it's not kaddish, right? It doesn't go all the way to Shemaim. What if I put it 20 tefachim above the table? What if I put it 16 tefachim above the table? Where does the kedusha stop? According to Rabbi Yehuda, I know that at least 15 tefachim, maybe more than is not kaddish. According to Rabbi Meir, just 12 tefachim. According to Rabbi Meir, if I put the bezichim 13 tefachim above the table, it's not kaddish. And according to Rabbi Yehuda, it would be kaddish.
Where would they be? Be suspended?
Yeah.
And if it was
I held it there with
and
my
if there
hand.
was nothing there, and you held it within the 15 tefachim would be cut?
Yeah.
Even if there was no bread there?
No bread. Because the table admits Kedusha all the way to 15 tefachim. Says the Gemara, my taimo, so why shakui mishak? My taimo mishum ipushi lechem. So why do I need these kanim? So they shouldn't mold. So if come apish lechem, but if these kanim are indented into the bread, it doesn't help me anything. All the breads are laying on top of each other, and it gets very moldy. The magbele purta, these kanim are slightly above, exactly like this. You see? That's why I did it. They're a little bit above the bread, and it helps for mold.
Really?
Ask the Gemara. What?
Any bit of some mold.
Why not? Yeah. There's airflow. Airflow helps everything. Says the Gemara. Everything was a miracle.
It's all a miracle.
Va'ika upurta, but nevertheless, now I still have a raya that this Gdusha a little bit above 15 tefachim. Says the Gemara, Kivin have a tefach lechashav. Fine. It's since this is a very little times 5, so 5 centimeters is not something that we have to consider. We only which shubchik? Yeah, this guy we're going to discuss soon. That's the next question. That's the question here coming up. Wow, this thing is heavy. Says the Gemara. That's the next question. Says the Gemara. Here, you have a spoonful full of frankincense. Where's it sitting? Like this. So now it's more than 15 tefachim. It's above here for the 17 people. How many?
Right now, 2 people.
Okay, for the 2 people, you see the frankincense. This water is frankincense sitting on top of the lechem. So it's higher up. According to that, only according if it's a boat. If it's a boat, there's a little indentation. Very good, but it doesn't say how high, how deep it is, and just the indentation makes it flat. But maybe the spoon is, I don't know how high. Says the Gemara. So that basically is your answer. Lamaisa, it was within the walls. What's so hard to understand that the bezichin was low down? Fine. Now, this is the big problem here. We have these horns. Let's get rid of this konim. We have a horn. Maybe I need another glove. We have a horn.
Use your pen.
No. Chas v'sholom. Says the Gemara, Kronos legavei lechem kayev lehu, v'lechem alayu nachle. So now, says the Gemara, these Kronos. Oh, this is attached somehow. Oh. Here.
So you
Put this
fold
in
over the
here.
horn.
So basically, says the Gemara, the Kronos were right over here. Bam.
It's nice.
It's like
Yeah, high tech.
Transformers.
Now, just as a side note, how many tefachim do we have from here to here?
I'll tell you.
There's 3 tefachim. Why? Because the bread is 5 tefachim, and each one of these is a tefach, so there's 3 tefachim. Now, according to the art scroll, this keren is 7 etzbais. 7 etzbais
1 3/4.
is 1 3/4. 1 3/4 plus 1 3/4 on the side is how much?
It's more than 3.
More than 3. Says the art scroll, Memela, he says it has to be like this. And all his pictures, he has these weird pictures going like this. So that they don't bump into each other, because if they're straight, they will bump into each other. And you see this?
What's the angle? Oh, that way.
That way. Inwards. The angle is this way.
Very nice.
Okay.
Wait, there was rough in the roof of the building.
My chavrusa doesn't like the art scroll at all.
So it
He says it's not
wasn't really
true.
a
It's
horn.
not. It's boys. It's
So it
not.
wasn't
It's
really a
not
horn.
thumbs.
So the whole thing really never really.
It's the horn going what?
Because it folded over.
Horns don't go upwards. Horns go this way.
Sideways.
Wait,
It's like
Yes.
an ox with a horn.
Watch
that goes
your
like,
thing here.
like that.
It's not a horn. What is the purpose of
What?
Like this. Ox comes at you.
Yeah, I'm gonna have major issues in my life. What's the purpose? Well, I don't know. It says in the because it says in the pasuk panim, panim, lechem panim. Why is it called lechem panim? Because it has horns. So the Gemara. Okay, now we're turning the page, boy. Say, v'lechem alay konochlei. So therefore, the breads, to answer your question, the breads never sat on top of the horns because the horns are inside the bread. The horns go this way, they're flush with the top of the 2.5 tvachim, as you can see from this picture, whether it's the art scroll or not. But this keren doesn't stand upwards, it stands sideways. So the whole height right over here is 2.5 tvachim, times 6 is 15 tvachim.
Why can't you just say smush?
On the top one, let's say. On the top one, and it was lower than the 2.5 tvachim. Or on the shulchan itself, if you hold like Rameir or like Abba Shol, that there's two tvachim over there. Fine. Zok the Gemara.
With the boat, yeah, how would that work?
This whole thing doesn't work with the boat. There was big shilas and Taisus here. The boat. Who's talking about the boat? Where did I see the big cash on the boat?
We don't pass like the boat.
Well,
Those who boat.
the Gemara does seem to pass like that, although the Rambam doesn't. So that's what we said. Okay,
The Rambam
fine.
does pass like the boat.
Yeah. Where's the right? So then you have to go back to that Gemara, that the Vakshal Gemara that has 6 pages, just the photos. I forgot to show it to you guys, but he has all these karnaim coming out of the boat. It's very, very interesting stuff. Says the Gemara, Vikim is Garta. Now for this, we need this book. Okay. Can I take off my glove? Yeah. Vikim is Garta. I hope you guys could see. I really wanted to blow it up, but I don't have permission yet. You see this frame? There's a frame. And the question is, where does the frame sit on the shulchan? Does the shulchan, let's say, is exactly like our table, it's a flat surface. Does the frame, literally, imagine to yourself a picture frame. Does it sit on top of the shulchan? Or underneath the shulchan, like in this picture? That there's a frame and this slab of gold sat on top of it. So therefore, the first bread was directly on the table, and 15 tefachim from that. But if the frame goes on top of the table, so now the frame also takes up a tefach.
This was the Saviv?
Yeah, is it called Mizgartei Saviv? And this might be the zero over here. It's a little bit decorative. You see like little things. I don't know if you can see all the way over there. Akaparim, fine. I'm being over now in digital copying.
I don't think
Video is not only a still. Fine. Says the Gemara, Kimando Omar Mizgartei Lamata Hoisa. So don't worry about it. The table was flat on top. The frame was underneath. So Rashi says, very interesting, I don't know why he has to say it, but he says it, that the frame, let's say this is the table, the frame went on an angle away from the table. I'm not sure why he doesn't say it was like this, flush to the table, because it doesn't take away from the table. He says it went like that. Okay, maybe the design purposes or whatever. Now, if it goes like this, how did it give support to the bread? This is the table, this is the frame, it goes this way. If I put a piece of bread on the table, this is doing 0. So you have to say that the bread was also a little bit on an angle and being supported by this. Or maybe it's not such a big angle. It was a little bit of angle and the bread still had somewhat of angle. I saw this inside somewhere.
It was enough of an angle that the breads fit all the way down. You don't have to go all the way out.
Right, but I'm saying any angle, then it's not touching the bread at all. If it's not touching the bread, no, it had to give support, a side support to the bread.
The whole kasha is, that l'chura, if it's exactly straight, the challah will sit on top of it, that's why we have an extra height. Right?
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about what did the...
that was the kasha. Right?
Yeah.
If it's straight, the challah go on top of it, so you have an extra tefach.
Yeah.
The answer is no, it's a little bit out, and then the challah fits all the way down. Then it's still touching it from the side.
No, it's on the table surface.
Oh, now I'm thinking about something else. Maybe because if it's a little bit on the angle, so it's less than a tefach. If it's less than a tefach, it's not counted, but that's not what he says. But Akopanim, what do you need snifim for? What do you need snifim for? What does snifim help us?
Hold the challah
All the way up.
Side, all the way up.
Sideways.
Right, but I'm saying...
This is only one.
But look what the Gemara says. Look at the next word. V'lechem begavei d'shulchan Abi Yosef.
That's right. The lechem is sitting on the table itself with the sides, the misgeret are touching it on the sides. Only the first one.
You're saying the Mizgeret wasn't touching it?
What?
The Mizgeret wasn't touching
The
it.
sides.
But how is it touching on the side if the Mizgeret went outwards?
It wasn't like this, it was...
But it doesn't matter. Still, the bread itself had to be a little bit outwards, because if the bread was straight, then it wouldn't touch the Mizgeret. It had the bread itself. I'm saying had to be a little bit like this. That's all I'm saying. A little bit.
Just touch the bread at the bottom.
Minimal.
Also.
What?
And just hold the bread in the bottom also.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Not
Oh
the
no,
frame,
but
the frame.
yeah, but if the frame, then I don't know. Fine. Kidesanya Rabbi Yossi Omer lo hoyesham snifim elo mizgartish shulchan mamedes. Rabbi Yossi is mechulk on this whole snifim business. He says there's no poles on the side. Elo, this is what I was talking about. Elo
You're
Mizgar
talking about the bottom one. You're not talking about all of the rest.
No, that's not. Some people don't learn like that. Elo Mizgar Shulchan Ma'amedes is Halechem. So over here it says literally that the Mizgeres was holding up the bread. This is what I was talking about. Amr Loi Mizgar Tilamata Hoisa. It's not even true. The Mizgeres was underneath the table. Fine. Amr Rabbi
It's
Yochanan.
only down only the first bread. What about the rest of them?
There's no. It depends how you learn. I know. I also thought like you, but I saw other people learn differently. They say that he's mechulk on the whole yisoid of snifim, and that's it. They were one on top of the other. So how did you have the konim then? If you didn't have snifim, how do you have konim? They just the konim stam laying flat on the bread. Omer Rabbi Yochanan, l'divrei omer mizgarti lamata hoisa, tavla misapeches tmei. So we're going to just jump into tuma for a few minutes. Not a big deal. We have a yisoid that wood is similar to a sack. How do we know that wood is mikabel tuma if it has a base kibul from a sack? That's if wood has a base kibul, that it has something, it holds something. What about a flat piece of wood? A flat piece of wood is not mikabel tuma. But what about a table, or like the bench you're sitting on, a big piece of wood that's flat and long? So is it tamei or not? Says Rabbi Yochanan, if you hold that the shulchan didn't have a frame on top, if it had a frame on top, then it's a base kibul. Then this whole table it has walls. But if the frame is underneath the table, so the top of the table is completely flat, l'divrei omer mizgarti lamata so tavla misapeches tmeya. Tavla misapeches meaning a piece of wood that if you flip over, it's flat from both sides. It comes out that it's tamei. Why would it be tamei? So let's see Rashi inside for a second. Rashi did a maskal tmeya, like almost halfway down, a third to halfway down. Because Shulchan Shel Migdash, Rashi says, "Ve'ein tavla zu k'shar pshuti kliyates." This piece of wood is not like a regular flat piece of wood. The rechave hi beis kibula, that the width of the piece of wood creates a beis kibul just by the mere fact that it's wide and it's a table and it does stuff. That is its beis kibul to be mikabel tuma, tremendous chiddush. And you see that from the shulchan, from the fact that the shulchan is tamei and the top of the shulchan is flat, according to the Man Omar, that there's no frame. You see that a flat piece of wood is mikabel tuma.
The shulchan was gold.
Yeah,
Wood.
right. It's covered in gold.
So like this table is flat, but if you pour a cup of water on it, it will still hold the water. There is a kibble to
Because
the
it's,
surface.
I got it. Okay, I hear. Because it's very wide. You mean depending on how wide it is. Have patience, exactly. You're always macham to the Gemara. Says the Gemara, but if you hold that the frame was on top of it, I can't bring a raya from the shulchan. I'll still have a shiloh whether or not a flat piece of wood is mikabel tuma. So now the Gemara just explains. Who told you that a shulchan is mikabel tuma? This is a piece of wood that's not meant to be moved. Now, a shulchan is not meant to be moved. I always love when there's massive giant taisus in, and obviously we're not going to read all taisus, and then there's like one taisus that's 3 words long, and we could do the whole taisus, and we feel as if we just did taisus on the whole page. So look all the way in the bottom. So as taisus are unbelievable kasha. Yesterday we just discussed the whole thing of moving the shulchan with the bread, without the bread, and if the bread isn't. So we're moving the shulchan. We're in constant motion. Because Baruch Hu made us move. Who knows how many times? The mashim misalkin oisa b'silk masois em bezed tiltul, says Tosfos. Even the mekoyme kavua, says Tosfos. If I have a very heavy piece of furniture in my house, and every once in a while I bring the movers to move to my next house in Gimel, and then from there, that's not moving. This is a stationary piece of furniture. I moved it. Yeah, you can move a lot of things. You can even move a house. It doesn't mean it's not stationary. So that's not considered moving. But when I move it within the heichal, that's moving, as we're going to see in a second.
I thought Tosfos meant that when you move a table within a house, the table's not moving, the house is moving. You take a crane to lift up a house,
Yeah.
and it moves the table as well. The table's not moving. When they traveled there, traveled with an anim, they didn't actually travel. The whole
That's too deep.
It's like the world is moving.
That's deep.
Mine was taken apart.
It was taken. Everything was taken apart, but they traveled as if they were there. I hear. Okay. That's deep. Levi likes that shot. What?
I thought the shulchan was brought out from the Mikdash to show the people that the bread was still.
Again, what is going on there? You remember this from last cycle, my friend? Because you're going from Gemara to Gemara. You're being mechaven. I know. He knows this stuff about Peh. Says the Gemara. Subconsciously, you know it. Yeah, we did.
Why does the shulchan have to be tamei?
Because why?
5 minutes.
Okay, that's exactly what we're discussing now. So how do we know that the shulchan becomes tamei? Oh, sorry. Now the Gemara just says if it's not meant to move, so then it shouldn't be mikabel tuma. It's not meant to move. My time do me the sagbino has to be like a sack. And just like a sack, you move it empty and full. I've called metatem oliverekon. Says the Gemara, shulchan nami metatem oliverekon. You do move the table. K'der shlokish, dam shlokish. Ma'idich siv ala shulchan at-tahar. It says the shulchan was pure, meaning that it could become tamei. They used to lift up the table from within the heichal, not take it outside. Look at the nace that's going on here. That when you put the bread in on Shabbos and you took it out the following Shabbos, it had the same freshness. I don't remember where we saw it. When we learned it last time, I remember something about steam coming out. I didn't look into it now, but I remember it was one of those. That was one of the pshatim. Now Tosfos just points out that this is dafka, according to the Manda Omer, that says that they baked it on Shabbos. But if you bake it erev Shabbos, that you hold that the shulchan is mekadosh and you don't worry about the oven, then the bread cooled off by the time you put it in, so it really wasn't hot. And some people say the pshat is no, they left it in the oven to keep warm like you do on Friday. You keep your food in the oven, you bake it erev Shabbos, you just keep it in. So it was hot on Shabbos, says the Gemara. Shenemar losum lechem choim b'yom yilokcha, it was hot like the day you took it. V'teipagli mishum tzipu. So that was your other question. The shulchan was covered in gold, and gold is mikabel tuma. So maybe the gold was mikabel tuma. Miloitnan. It says hashulchan vadulbeki. It's like a folding table made out of leather. Shenivchasu ushechipam b'shayish. Yeah, they didn't have plastic in those days. That you covered it with a piece of marble. You have a table. So how do I know if my table is marble and my table is wood? It depends. If within the marble I could see my table and I could put a cup down on the wood, so I call this a wood table that just happens to have a tablecloth or whatever. But if there's no room to put anything down, the whole thing is marble, so then it turns into a marble table. It's not enough to leave a space for a cup. You need a space for pieces of meat. Says the Gemara, shir in the shir loy. It seems like if it's completely covered, like the shulchan, then it would be considered metal, and metal is mekabel tuma. Maybe it means that it's covered to the point you can't take it off. It's not easily separated, like with nails. Or the other pshat in Rashi and Tosfos brings down another pshat. The pshat doesn't stand by itself. It's not thick enough that if you remove the table, it'll break apart. Like a little layer of gold is not a layer, because if you get rid of the table, so therefore it's called a wooden table. That can't be. This Mishnah we just read, that we're talking about a folding table and kalim, that dulbeki, that. So he says, what is it talking about? Is it talking about with a cover of metal, not a cover of metal? B'shechipa as lebizbizov, did he cover the whole rim or just the top part? Or b'shleichipa as lebizbizov? Amarlei loishna tzipu yoyme v'loishna tzipu she'enu yoyme. We're holding that tzadik zayin on the aleph on the top. It doesn't matter. Loishna chipa as lebizbizov, loishna loichipa as lebizbizov. V'chitei matzi shitim chashiv v'lei batli. And if you're going to tell me, maybe the wood is very chosh, very expensive, and therefore it's not bottled to the gold, and it's considered wood. It's like a type of wood that's not expensive at all. It comes from China, so it's bottled. Aval clay mismos, a very choshev wood, chashivi v'loy batli shaper. That's good according to Rish Lakish, that makes enough community between expensive wood and not expensive wood. El Rabbi Yochanan Amar kli mismos nami batli ma'yikela meimar. Says the Gemara Shani Shulchan Rachmana Karya 8. Even with the gold cover, the Torah keeps on calling it wood. It remains wood. Shenemar HaMizbeach, referring to the Shulchan, and the Gemara is going to say why it's Mizbeach. Eight shalish amis goyva calls it eight. Orke shtayim amis muktzos loy. Over orke because of eight. Vaydaber Elizah shulchan asher lefnei Hashem. This shulchan is called eight with the gold. Says the Gemara Pasach b'mizbeach v'sim b'shulchan. It starts off with the word mizbeach. Why? Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Elazar Damri Tavai b'zman shebeis hamikdash kaim mizbeach mechaber la'odam. V'achshav sheim mizbeach beis hamikdash kaim shulchani shalom mechaber la'olav. A person in his house could create a beis hamikdash by having guests and waiting for guests. Or according to Marsha, you learn Torah. That's what. But having guests is very, very important. It's like bringing korbanos at in the beis hamikdash. What?
I get a present every morning. This was yesterday's.
From who?